You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS fluff or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 278, The Magical Power of a Reset. If you're a business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today, we're going to dive into the what, when, why, and how of doing a reset so that you can get back on the shortest path to achieving your goals. If you want help managing your time, creating more efficiency, making a new hire, leading your team, reducing the stress and overwhelm of running a business, or making strategic business decisions that will help you level up your business, then I would love to talk to you. I invite you to schedule a discovery call so we can discuss partnering together to help you get unstuck, reduce stress, and determine a clear path to increase profits. To learn more and to book a discovery call, head on over to amberdelagarza.com/coaching. Again, that's amberdelagarza.com/coaching. And now, let's get to the straight talk. Let's start off with answering the question of, what is a reset? A reset is when you decide that you want to stop or start doing something again to get back on track. I'm going to state that again. A reset is when you decide that you want to stop or start doing something again and get back on the right track. All right, so now that we're on the same page on what a reset is, let's talk a little bit about, well, when do you do a reset? Like, what is the actual best time to declare you're going to do a reset? Drum roll. The answer is any time. That's right. Anytime you realize that you need or want a reset, you can do a reset. You can do a reset at the first of the year, the first of the month, a Monday, or any given day of the week. In fact, you may find yourself needing a reset right after breakfast, midday, towards the end of the day to save the rest of your day. A reset can happen at any time. Anytime you decide that you are going to do a reset or restart is the right time. I'm going to give you an example here. And this one actually came right flowing off the top of my head when I was writing today's episode. And I don't know where it came from, but I think it really drives the point home. All right, so imagine you can have ice cream for breakfast, right? You wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, I am craving ice cream for breakfast. And you eat ice cream for breakfast. Then you have a choice. You have a choice to reset, to recommit to your health goals and have a salad for lunch and get right back on track. But what tends to happen is without a reset, you will have this inner dialogue. You will be telling yourself, well, today went to shit, so a double cheeseburger with supersized fries and a Coke for lunch, it is. However, with the power of a reset, the ice cream for breakfast can be just that. Ice cream for breakfast doesn't mean that you have to sabotage your health goals for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, the month, the quarter, etc. With this really simple example, can you see that the power of a reset allows you to get back on track? And one perceived slip up, like eating ice cream for breakfast, doesn't need to mean anything more than that. It doesn't need to mean that you are now off track and that you are consistently sabotaging yourself. When you have to do a reset, it doesn't mean you failed. It is part of the journey. I want to say that again, because oftentimes, once we have the ice cream for breakfast, we kind of deny ourselves the permission to do a reset, to choose something different. For example, for lunch, because we perceive it as failing. And then it becomes this little spiral of one decision after another that does not propel you towards your goals. So let me say it again. When you do a reset, not if, we all can do a reset. When you do a reset, it doesn't mean you failed. It is just part of the journey. All right, next, I want to share with you some common culprits of needing to do a reset. And what I mean by this is that what are some of the reasons why or situations that come up that tempt you into sabotaging or making a decision that would then lead to needing a reset? Number one, when you've been stuck in a rut of indecision. Indecision can then lead to needing to do a reset. Next, putting out an insane amount of fires can certainly lead to needing a reset. Those are interruptions and distractions and certainly pull you off track. Perhaps it's not fires necessarily that are distracting you, but you do find yourself incredibly distracted and unfocused, and therefore not showing up consistently in the actions or behaviors that are going to propel you towards your goals. Perhaps a reset is needed because you haven't been holding boundaries. You haven't been holding boundaries with your family, your clients, team members, you name it. By not holding boundaries, sometimes we find ourselves needing a reset on those boundaries. How about when your day does not go as planned? Like completely the unexpected is happening. Now, this does happen. This is part of the journey. Our days do not always go as planned. Well, once you acknowledge the day hasn't gone as planned, can you choose to do a reset? A reset on your schedule, a reset on your commitment for eating healthy, a reset on your commitment for working out, a reset on your commitment to planning your day again for tomorrow. How about when you are way busier than normal? You have a busy season in your business, or you find yourself in a very busy season in life. Something personal is going on. Something has disrupted your schedule and your consistency. It is a great opportunity to acknowledge that you may need a reset. How about feeling exhausted? And exhaustion leads to low willpower. Low willpower leads to oftentimes making decisions or indecision about our actions that would actually allow us to show up and chase our goals, show up and be consistent with the actions and behaviors that we have identified will propel us towards our goals. How about a meeting getting canceled or a schedule shift or a reschedule? Or perhaps you have employees that are calling out. Maybe you find yourself coming back from vacation, but your mind is still on vacation mode. Do you need a reset? How about losing key employees? They quit or you have to let them go. Or perhaps you find that you are sick and that you are lacking energy. These are often common culprits of getting into these patterns of behaviors and activities that often warrant a reset. Do you find yourself working late or on weekends? Do you find yourself working on days that you said you did not want to be working? How about finding yourself pushing too hard? You're pushing to exhaustion. You're not taking the time to, refuel, re-energize yourself. Do you need a reset? How about just overcommitting? You're taking on way too many things, too many clients, too many responsibilities in the business, too much in your home life. This could look different for each of us. But potentially the reason that you need a reset is because you've simply taken on too many things. All right, that is just a short list of some of the things that I see that are culprits of sabotaging our actions and our behaviors in our business. And I see this commonly in my work with my clients. So I wanted to make you aware of it. But let me tell you this. The culprit of needing a reset can be just about anything that pulls you off course or off track of you showing up consistently and achieving your goals both in your business and your personal life. Next, I want to share with you 3 simple steps to doing a reset. I am certain that you are not listening to today's episode and the idea of doing a reset or starting again is a new concept. And I'm sure that you know what that feels like. For example, when it's the first of the year, the calendar is clear, everything starts over again. It feels like that fresh start. That fresh start can happen at any time. Like I said, can happen at any month, any time of the month, any day of the week, any hour of the day. You can start with a fresh slate. You can start again. All right, so what are these 3 simple steps to doing a reset? Number 1 is observe. Simply observe that you need a reset. You are going to notice that you are or are not doing something that propels you towards your goals. This is really, really important to have this self-awareness and observe, because when we're just in reaction mode, when we're in firefighter mode, when we start slipping off the track that we've set for ourselves and we don't realize it, that is the scariest place to be, because you may find yourself a week out, a month out, 6 months out, and you look around and then you realize, oh my gosh, I am so far off track. I need a reset. But there's powerful magic in evaluating and observing in the moment. Do you need a reset? Number 2 is recommit. You're going to recommit to going to start from a fresh slate and stay on track. So you're going to recommit to yourself. You're going to say, I'm going to start again. And number 3 is to take action on that recommitment. You're going to take the appropriate action to get back on track. That means that you are going to take the action of stopping something or starting something again to get you back on track for achieving your goals. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When do you need a reset? Everybody needs a reset. How quickly can you recognize, observe, that you need or want a reset and actually reset? That's winning. The winning part is how quickly you can understand and observe, I need a reset, recommit to the reset, and then take action on the reset. To me, that's the winning. The winning is not thinking that you'll never need a reset. You absolutely, every single one of us, at some point in our lives, most certainly, but often in our days and our weeks, do need a reset. The most important aspect of a reset is this: giving yourself grace instead of beating yourself up for falling off track. Giving yourself grace for falling off track. It is part of the journey. And oftentimes, even once we've observed that we need a reset, we often do not move into the second and third steps of recommit and take action, because now we're swirling around in guilt or shame or embarrassment or any other of those negative thoughts that hold us back on really just accepting that our reset is part of the process and giving ourselves grace. I wanted to drive this point home with an example that I feel many of us can understand. So when I'm asking you to give grace to yourself, here's the example. When your kids backtalk, misbehave, fight with each other, do you lock them in their rooms forever, thinking they will never do better? Like they are just eternally unable to get back on track. Like they have messed up and there is no point of return. Do you think that because they screwed up, that they'll never grow into the kind, respectful human beings that your heart was set on creating? Of course not. Absolutely not. You manage their missteps the way that you see fit, and then grant them a reset or a restart. You give your kids grace, and you need to do the same for yourself and in your business. Everyone has missteps. Everyone falls down. What matters is how quickly you recover and what you do when you get back up. Now, this example was about our kids. We would never not extend a grace to our kids. When we look at our kids, I will speak for myself actually. When I look at my son, I regularly tell him he is going to screw up. You are going to make mistakes. And if you can take responsibility and do a reset, you get to start over again. Crystal and I, who is my content manager, were talking about this example when writing this episode. And she was sharing some of the language she uses with her kids, and I was sharing some of the language I use with my son. And it's things like, do we need to rewind? Do we need to start over? Do you need a reset? Do you need to take a break and come back again when you are not upset? There are so many variations of these words that we use with our loved ones, and we use these words with grace, understanding that in the moment they may be making a decision that they don't want to be making or isn't in alignment with their character. So I ask you today, can you offer yourself that same grace? Can you say, I need a rewind. I need a break. I need to step away. I deserve a restart. I deserve to start from a fresh slate and start again. Well, if you ask me, I think each and every one of you listening deserve a fresh start. I want to share next with you some common opportunities for a reset. Now, this is just a list that I came up with, and I share the list with you to get your own thoughts around where in your business and your life you can give yourself the gift of a reset. Can you give yourself the gift of a reset on following a routine? Whether that's your morning routine, your evening routine, you get ready for business day routine. How about a reset on taking time and days off? You may find yourself that you're in this pattern of weeks and months of working 6-7 days a week, or after hours after the kids go to bed, or after dinner, and you slip back onto the computer. Do you need a reset on your schedule? And that would include your start times and your end times. Do you have intentions of starting your day at a specific time, but you've fallen into the behavior of slipping into the office later and later each day. Or perhaps you know that you want to end your day at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock comes and goes, and you need a reset to recommit to your ideal schedule. How about resetting on holding boundaries? I spoke about that earlier. You can reset holding boundaries anytime. You can reset holding boundaries with yourself, holding boundaries with your loved ones, holding boundaries with your clients and your team members. How about a reset around honoring your commitments to yourself? Do you need a reset with the commitment of self-care, working out, taking time off, vacations? How about the commitment of focused working sessions with yourself? This is a common one. We will show up to any meeting. We will show up to any call. We will show up to anything that has somebody else meeting with us. But what if your business needs you to show up and do some focused work, working on a client project, working on a project in your business? Can you recommit to honoring that time with yourself? A recommitment around eating healthy. That was my example at the top of today's episode. You could screw it up, quote unquote, in the morning and recommit for lunch. How about a recommitment around planning your day? This is one that I often find with my clients is that they get into this pattern of planning their day. They see the tremendous upside of that consistency. And then something happens. They get sick, they get overworked, overbooked. The day doesn't go as planned, one day after another. And somewhere in there is this slip back to an old behavior that is not supporting their goals with time management and productivity. And so can you observe that that's happening and say, I'm restarting today to plan my day? Do you need a reset around your task management system, your task list, your project management system? Did you intend on using it? Were you using it? Were you consistent with having one centralized task list? And then you fell off the wagon. You did a little backslide. Well, this is a great opportunity to reset and restart. How about delegating? You know, this is not a one and done task in our business. You could be delegating, and then something happens, something like you mistrust an employee's ability, or you had an experience where you communicated with a team member and didn't get the results you wanted. Did that set you into a tailspin of hoarding the work, holding it close to you, telling yourself internally in your head that only you can do it? Do you need a reset and delegating to others? Perhaps you need a reset around turning off notifications. We had an episode all about turning off notifications recently here on the podcast. How about taking breaks? You may have been into a routine or had a commitment about taking your lunch break, just starting there 30 minutes to step away from the work, to recharge, refocus, and refuel. Again, we had a whole episode about that as well. We'll be linking to these various episodes in the show notes if that interests you. But do you need a recommitment to holding that time sacred and having that boundary because you know for yourself that when you were taking breaks, you felt better. When you were taking breaks, you were less stressed. But something happened and now you're not consistent with that. Well, a reset may be needed. How about utilizing time blocking? If you have committed to time blocking and feel like that's slipped up for you, that you've kind of backslid on that routine and that habit, you can have a total reset on a recommitment around time blocking. How about multitasking? Now, I've spoken a lot here on Productivity Straight Talk about the negative effects of multitasking. I'm a bit of a nerd about it. I've had the author of The Myth of Multitasking book here on the podcast. We'll link out to that. I've read the book. I've read studies and research all about multitasking. And I'm very transparent to say that even though intellectually I know and I have a commitment to myself not to multitask, this is the one that I often need a reset on. This is the one that I often realize my shoulders are tense, my hands are clammy, my jaw might be a little clenched. And as soon as I observe that, I almost always look around and realize that I am trying, because it's actually a myth. You can learn about that in the episode, but that I'm trying to multitask. So then I take the steps, I observe, I recommit, and then I take action, shut everything down, make a decision. I'm going to only focus on this one thing. That is a great example of using the 3 steps of doing a reset. And I find myself, to be honest, doing a reset around my commitment not to multitask more often than I'd like to admit. But I do admit it here because I'm completely transparent. So, do I beat myself up for it? No. In fact, I've become into this little habit of a chuckle. I'll laugh at myself. I'll be like, you did it again. All right, reset. That is literally the dialogue I've adopted so that I don't say something like, I can't believe I did it again. You know, Amber, you know better than this. You've read the books, you've had the research. I cannot believe you did this again. No, that self-talk would not support me, would not give me the ability to want to move into steps 2 and 3, which is recommit and take action. And even if I got to steps 2 or 3, it would take much longer between step 1 and 2 because of all that negative self-talk. So now I observe it. I'm thankful that I observed it. I chuckle, I laugh at myself, and I move right into steps 2 and 3. All right, next, how about a reset and restart around processing your emails? Perhaps you have taken my Conquer Your Email Masterclass, which is available on my website, where I share with you my simple framework on how to go from triaging and firefighting and living in your inbox to learning how to properly process your emails. If you've taken that course, then you know what that system is. It's a very simple but incredibly effective system. But knowing it is not enough. On the other side of knowing it is doing it. And sometimes we need to do a reset. Next, how about saying no to activities that do not align with your goals? Again, you might start the year off and you know this. Intellectually, you are so clear about your goals and you're like, yes. Or you're like, no. Actually, you're like, I am going to say no to these activities that don't align with our goals. And then we find ourselves in March, April, May, June. We're further out from when we set those goals. It's blurry about what is or isn't in alignment with our goals. But at any given day, any given moment, you could observe and look around and be like, my gosh, I have been saying yes to activities that are not aligned with my goals, and I am choosing a reset. How about a reset around staying organized? Oftentimes, we create these projects like purging the office, cleaning the top of the desk, maybe purging some electronic files. We get ourselves all organized, and then we are not maintaining the system at some point to stay organized. Well, this is a great opportunity for a reset to clean it back up and to recommit to the maintenance plan of consistently staying organized. How about leading your team? This could often lead to a reset around, like we spoke about, delegating. How about consistently, clearly communicating to them? A reset around your commitment to training them or being available and supporting them. I just shared with you a list that I was able to just whip up in preparation for today's episode. And this list is largely around the area of work that I support my clients with. But I do want to offer that you could take a reset. You could do a reset anytime on anything that you decide that it needs a reset so that you're back on track with achieving your goals. By observing when you need a reset, recommitting to staying on track, and taking the appropriate action, you will be able to successfully reset and get back on track on the shortest path to achieving your goals. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. This quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson speaks to the importance of resilience, perseverance in life, but it also applies to how we run our businesses. You are going to fall off track sometimes as a leader and as a business owner. It's unavoidable. We all make mistakes and missteps, but what matters is what you do from that point on. Make the choice to reset and start fresh whenever is needed. Give yourself the gift and the grace of a reset. I have loved having you listen to this episode of Productivity Straight Talk, and I sure hope you found this to be insightful and empowering. But I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. My hope is that after today's episode, your action is allowing yourself the gift of a reset. Not once, not twice, but consistently and guilt-free whenever you find yourself needing or wanting a reset. If you want coaching and accountability to manage your time, create more efficiency, make a new hire, reduce the stress and overwhelm of running a business, or perhaps you want a partner that can help you make strategic decisions that will help you level up your business, then I would like to talk to you. I invite you to schedule a discovery call so that we can discuss partnering together to help you get unstuck, reduce stress, and determine a clear path to increase profits. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/coaching to schedule a call. And before we close out, be sure that if you are new here, that you are subscribed to wherever you're listening to this episode of Productivity Straight Talk. And if you have found today's episode to be valuable, do not keep it a secret. Share it with a fellow business owner. Let them know that you enjoyed this episode and you think they would too. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.